So I was sitting here thinking about a concept. When I'm telling a story to somebody and I say, this really cool person said this thing one time, and then I say the name, and it's some celebrity. I don't look up to a lot of celebrities. Usually it's like a social media person or somebody who's big on social media who maybe has run a business or is a self-development person. They've done something to help other people, but they're controversial. And when you say that name, like this person said this thing, immediately some people just turn off and they just get triggered and they just go, oh, that person's just blah, 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 blah. I hate that person because they're a horrible person and they're this, they're that. They reference all the names that media has called them in articles and stuff. And that's why I'm not even going to use any examples in what I'm talking about. Because if you're watching this, maybe I shouldn't pander to the emotional audience, but maybe you're an emotional person and you have any inkling of not being so emotional and just being logical and like being able to listen to people without your emotions going crazy and just going off the rails. Like, think about this for a second, okay? Have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and you're about to make a point and you're like, oh yeah, I heard about that too. This person said one time, and then they're like, oh, that person's a fraud. That person's a horrible person. And then all of a sudden the conversation is just derailed onto some other topic about how this specific person whose name you said, you didn't even have to say their name. You could have just, like me in this video, said, a wise man once said, or I heard this person say, blah, 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 and then you state some fact. Why are people so adverse to sticking to facts? And why do we demonize people? Like, just because I said somebody's name, like some famous person's name, you automatically get so triggered that you can't even listen to the next point that I'm about to make, or that you can't even listen to the thing I'm going to say that they said because you hate that person so much. What if what they said was true? What if you have this awful person that goes through their life and they do horrible things, or they're just not perfect, they make mistakes, but then they said this one thing that's really true and they can share it with you, but you're so closed-minded that you can't even listen to the truth that was said because of the person who said it. You just get triggered by it. Maybe you had a horrible relationship with one of your parents, and then your parents says something true, but you can't accept that. You can't accept that they just said truth, but somebody else says the same exact thing and you accept it from them. Isn't that weird? Do you think, if you're watching this video still, and do you think that's because of a lack of intelligence? Do you think that's because of a lack of control of emotions? Because if you're intelligent, you can just focus and seek truth, and you know that something's true, and you don't have to just go on some tangent about how the person who said it is bad because they've done bad things before. What they're saying is true now, right? Or is it a lack of emotional control? If you had more emotional control, could you see your emotions getting angry at right when I say that person's name, but still listen to the truth that I'm stating, that I'm saying that they said? So what I've done personally when I'm in conversation with people is, if I have something true to say that I heard from somebody, I won't even mention who I heard it from. And maybe that's why people used to say, a wise man once told me, blah, blah, blah. You've seen that in old movies. You've seen older people, or you've heard older people say that phrase, a wise man once said. And then they might say the true thing, and then you're like, oh, wow, that is true. And then they follow it up like, that person was your grandfather. or that person was this person. Then they reveal it, and it's like, whoa, that person said that? So I'm kind of learning that some people get very triggered by the name of some person, just who they what do they associate that person with? What they associate that person with will determine if they feel good about what you're about to say. So a lot of times I'll just leave out where I heard the true thing that I'm about to say, and I'll just say the true thing. And that's really important too. When I was a little bit younger, I had to put my ego aside in conversation, because have you ever been in a group conversation with people? When I was in college or at work or something, I'd be sitting in a circle of people. We'd all be stating things, And somebody, like, okay, let's go to college because that's a good example. In class, there's like a right answer. So somebody might raise their hand and say the right answer. There's some people in class in college who just want to be right. They just want to be the first person to raise their hand and say the thing so that they get credit for saying the right answer. But the humble person knows that if the right thing is said, everybody will just learn. So I actually had to put my ego aside sometimes in college and not be the first person, because like I had to let other people in class like talk. I was very shy when I was younger, but it felt good when I was able to start speaking up in class. And sometimes I would have to let other people in class say the thing and, like, talk, say the right answer so that they could say it and come up with the idea. And then everybody else would just learn from it rather than me just always having to say the right answer so that I said it first, as if nobody else can come up with the right answer. Like, I get that sort of a competitiveness thing, but it's also a selfish rather than collaborative thing. And you have to focus on your team. So when you're in like a college class, that's kind of like your team. You're all looking to graduate with the same degree. You're all looking to get jobs. Like, you hope that everybody succeeds, right? Ideally. And at the end of the day, if the true thing is said and everybody realizes the true thing, isn't that the important part rather than you just being right? I think that relates to what I was talking about with people getting triggered by it. Because in that case, when you want to be right, that's you wanting to be right. That's you putting all this weight on yourself as a person. You, your name, me, T-Roy. That would be me putting so much weight on myself rather than weight on the truth. And when you listen to people, and if it's coming from a certain person and you get triggered, that's you putting a ton of weight on that person rather than the thing that they're saying, the truth. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.